salad or dolly, threw a great party. We all drank Bacardi, it got kinda gnarly. We're light as a feather, we're tougher than leather. Together we're weirder together.
Hello, welcome to Weirder Together.
We are here.
Yeah, we're here.
It's happening.
Ione, Sky, and Ben Lee. Weirder Together. We missed you.
We're podcasting.
We're podcasting. And
have you made some peace with being a podcaster?
I've always liked it.
But do you remember like the Ion Pack were asking you about that, like growing up as a creative before this existed, and now you become a multi-hyphenate? You know, does it feel like a natural part of your identity?
Yeah, I'm always worried about cringe, but I did want to talk about cringe as one of our topics on the podcast.
You are hardcore repelled by the concept of being cringe.
Yes, I have always been afraid to sell things, even though I grew up in LA where you're hustling and you have to. It's a funny mixture, the LA culture. Hustle, but don't fronting was really big, but hustling wasn't for a while.
So you had to appear like you were already successful.
Yeah.
And show no signs of any effort put into being successful.
Right. But also be humble and like make sure people knew you had a humble beginnings as well. So it's like you had to do all of it. Like, you know, I didn't grow up with a lot of money but I'm doing fine now, and my car is just good and, you know, great enough, and I'm living in a nice enough place, and I dress well, and I have cool friends, and I'm relevant. So fronting, but don't appear to be trying too hard.
Yeah, and obviously this connects to like 90s don't sell out culture and all of that stuff.
Yeah, the kissing the monkey. But then I saw someone recently talk about how it's important to embrace cringe. It was a young actor, I can't remember who. And I think embracing cringe is important. But then it leads us to a very interesting topic that we can go right into.
Well, hang on. Let's just talk about this for a second. The idea of cringe is associated with vulnerability.
And you might be cringy for real.
Right. So the effort, the transparency is what leads to cringe, right? That people can see you trying.
Yes.
Whereas if people can't see you trying, it's very hard to be cringe, right?
Right. but remember when, like, Timothée Chalamet, and who's the actor that was in, oh man, he predates Timothée Chalamet.
Impossible. No one predates Timothée Chalamet.
But he was similar. He was in the Shyamalama, whatever, that kind of movie.
M. Night Shyamalan?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm saying that because I now have a bone to pick with him. But
what you do with M. Night Shyamalan?
On behalf of my friend Francesca Gregorini.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
gotcha.
but in any case.
So but wait, did Chalamet and Shyamalan do something together?
I feel like no.
No, I don't think so.
This is the actor who predates Timothée.
Okay.
Is this other actor who looks like him, and he was in Holes and.
Oh, Shia LaBeouf.
Exactly. So he also, people would say, was cringy because you could see him trying and whatnot. Now, when someone tries really hard, like I feel like we were talking about somebody who's on Instagram that you and Kate Netto were into.
Okay. So we were talking about, there's a TikTok musician who is breaking through on us and all our friends' algorithms called Victor Jones. And he's one of these guys who has just managed to catch the algorithm with the right combination of taste, hooks, vulnerability, and charisma.
Yes.
And it's kind of really interesting in an industry where it's so hard to break through. Here at Weirder Together, we're interested in the things that do,
yes.
the things that seem to be able to make it through. But it is cringe in a sense, right?
Yeah, and when cringe becomes charisma.
Yes.
But he works with his body, which is a little hefty on the big boy side. Big boy's blouse side, and he has hooks, and I think he has some lyrics about he likes mean women. It's like funny, but it's not.
He has that hook. I like mean women. I like soft men. I like that.
And I think that why it's also connecting is it's not the Andy Samberg. It's not the kind of jokey Adam Sandler-y, like it's not jokey.
Well, it uses humor, but it's not jokey.
It's
and
not
I
that,
think a firm grasp of
I mean,
humor.
it's humorous, but it's serious as well.
Yeah, like a firm grasp of humor is kind of vital to connect on social media for musicians these days, I think.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a time when like total earnestness, like Radiohead or Elliott Smith, those kind of things that were so sincere might have a harder time connecting on socials these days. Bless you.
Excuse me.
That is the
Excuse me.
ghost of Tom York.
I didn't cover my mouth for some reason. Sorry.
So this guy, Victor Jones, he's
Yes.
doing like a dance punk reminiscent of like Talking Heads, LCD sound system, and it's got a performance art aspect to it. And like you said, he's using the fact that he's overweight. It reminds me a little bit of what Harmar Superstar was doing, where there's like an unexpected sensuality and sexuality
Yeah.
to it. And that's part of, I think, what catches you off guard.
When sweaty becomes a little sexy.
And
Yeah.
great lyrics. That's the other
Not
thing.
too sweaty.
Not too sweet, just the right amount of
Yeah,
sweaty.
yeah.
Yeah. I think that's part of it too. And the way lyrics and these immediate hooks have to get you, there has to be a novelty aspect to them in order to break through the algorithm. And he opens up all these videos with these lyrics that are like, one is like, what the fuck does Gaga know about cameras? One is, we go to Russia, we go to Russia, we go to Africa. The other one you mentioned is, I like mean women, I like soft men. These are all like, they really rattle you as you're scrolling. You're like, hang on, what does that mean? Do I like that?
Yeah.
Is it bad? Is it good?
And he just his visuals and dancing style and singing also takes a second to your mind, when you watch stuff on Instagram, whatever, TikToks, your mind is, or just in real life, scrambling. Do I like this? Is this bad? Is this good? It's reaching for your own opinion. And for him, you sort of start reaching like, do I hate this? Do I like it? Am I going to like it? And so, but that's kind of what makes you like it even more.
Right, because it's not cool. I mean, I think that's part of why you're
But
using
it's
the word
not
cringe.
uncool.
Well, it's cool in how deeply embodied he is in this mission
Right.
of getting this content to you. But it's a little bit embarrassing too, which I personally love in music.
That's what I mean. Embracing cringe. Yeah, it's cool because it's not trying to be so cool.
Well, it's the classic Philip Seymour Hoffman playing Lester Bangs in Almost Famous. Being uncool is the greatest asset that a
my
writer or
God.
an artist has.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, I got to meet him a couple times because my brother did a whole documentary with him. And he was very bristly because it was right before he was going on stage. And I met him in the hallway behind the theater stage. And he, bristly was part of his personality. But wow, when I revisit his roles, he played so many uncool, complex characters.
Absolutely,
He
was also like, he just gave so much. I remember my ex Claire telling me a story that she went to an audition that he was also auditioning for, and he was like warming up to go in and screaming at the top of his lungs in a corridor outside the audition room, which is like just the balls you have to give that much to an audition.
I just got flooded with waiting to audition memories.
Wait, let's come back. I want to hear about your auditions,
Okay.
but the last thing I wanted to ask or contemplate about Victor Jones, which we jumped in right away to this, how cringe stuff maybe is part of the recipe for breaking through on social media, right? Getting people to feel a little uncomfortable. I'm so interested watching this new generation of like TikTok musicians and comedians and thinking about how they're challenged in expanding those into larger careers. Like I remember
Yeah.
hearing someone say, hearing the full song of something you've only heard 15 seconds of on TikTok is like seeing your teacher out of school on the weekend. And it does feel a little bit like, ooh, it's so vulnerable. I know you so well in this one small aspect. But I don't know. I really wonder about that, like how to take these tiny moments of capturing an audience's attention and how you then turn that into a career.
Yeah. I do want to fold in Vanessa Imani, who's on TikTok and Instagram, the little girl who sings with her dad, who plays piano for her. And that
Right.
could easily be cringe with little
How can
children.
a little kid be
They
cringe?
can't really, but I guess when you bring the parent in, possibly. But
Okay,
they're
like because there's
not.
like a degree of like,
I don't know.
oh, my
maybe.
kid's so cute, and it's a bit embarrassing.
Yeah, maybe there's
Yeah.
no possibility of cringe. The similarity with she and
Victor Jones.
Victor Jones is they are free-forming it in a sense, and it's wonderful. So Vanessa Imani, also the
Right.
little,
So watching. Okay, wait, hang on. So watching someone be unashamedly themselves is part of what we love on stuff that's
Yes.
breaking through on
and
socials.
and the father is as well being authentic. It's this true authenticity, and I don't think art and acting and whatever, singing and writing, has to always be just raw and authentic.
Sure, because give a
I-
man a mask, he'll show you the truth. Oscar Wilde.
That's
One of
right.
my
And
favorite
also
quotes.
I do love people kind of, I don't know. I like it all. I like when
Like
people really
artifice and performance and theatricality.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's the other father-daughter who are really sweet. They're Hispanic. I don't think they're in California, but she's teaching her father English, and it's really cute. You know those two?
Oh yeah, I love those.
I don't
They're
know
really
their
cute.
names.
So wait, let me ask you this though: if you break through, and this is an area that I think we both have some degree of insight on, in that we were both discovered with our naturalness being one of our strongest assets.
Yes.
Right. In some sense, then, are you at a disadvantage entering an industry against people that have been carefully cultivating a skill behind the scenes for the moment they get discovered?
Sure.
You are. You believe we are at a disadvantage.
Both.
Advantage and disadvantage. Right. Okay. So wait, let's come back to your auditions. What was your most horrific audition story?
Oh man. Well, that I have in my memoir, I have a story where I went in for probably it was Steel Magnolias, and I was obviously stressed. I don't know if I was doing movies back to back or just being spaced out teenager. I, for some reason, totally imagined it was an English accent. This sounds made up, but it's
So wait, this Steel Magnolias is a movie set in the South, where in Georgia?
Like clearly,
or-
it was
okay, yeah.
some audition that who knows? I could have even been overwhelmed by how good my agents were like, this is a great project.
And maybe you didn't read the script?
Yes. Something happened. It might not have been Steel Magnolias, but I think it was. And I went in and I just blanked the whole leading up to it.
Who are you reading with? A casting director?
No, this is a story. Sally Field is in there.
You rock up to audition with
Yeah.
Sally Field and you do the audition in the wrong accent, not just the
Yes.
wrong dialect within America, the wrong country.
Exactly. But you know what this is making me think that it might not have been Steel Magnolia if she was in the audition. It might, because she could have been. In any case, Sally Field was in reading with people.
And do you recall the look on her face when she first clocked that you were doing a British accent?
Yes, and then I tried to, make it all Southern.
But
and
wait, describe. How did she look at you? I just want to
Oh.
know, like, what?
just not mean, just I don't even know. Just you're wasting my time, but she's so nice, and
Sure.
So I wrote a letter to give to her
Hmm.
that I sent through to my agents. I don't know if she ever got it. Just saying, I'm sorry I wasted your time and da. So
And did
that
you
was
get the
embarrassing.
role?
No, I did not. But wait, there's so many freaky audition things. I had a great one with Jason Alexander.
Oh, yeah?
Post Friends, where he
What about post Seinfeld, which is more
Oh.
relevant touchstone considering it's a show he was in?
was
Yeah.
he even? Well, he probably had a guest star in Friends.
I don't know about that. but yeah.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
So he was jumping on the table, and we were running around the room together, and it was like physical comedy,
Amazing.
and it was so fun.
Amazing. Well, that's very cool. So, Cringe. Did we get to the heart of what you've been thinking about Cringe? How are you feeling about Cringe? Okay, so going into an audition, you gave it your all. You did it in the wrong accent, but you brought it, right?
Yeah.
Is that
I
cringe?
don't know that I brought it. I don't know that I brought
So
it.
is it cringe in that aspect To
Yes.
fail or to try and like what's the cringe
The
part?
irony of that is that's cringe because I didn't try, but it's not
Okay.
really cringe. I didn't know we're tying that audition into cringe.
No, I just wondered if it like what
I should have been. So I think I would sometimes not try and throw the race when I was scared and fear being cringy. So I would pull back and be subtle.
Now I
you
kind of
know?
like cringe a little more than you do.
Well, listen, I think I married you or I got with you and why I like you is what I'll never forget. And I think I've said this already when Frank Pugliese, the great playwright, dated Marissa Tomei. And he said to me, sometimes you date someone who's the way that you wish you could be, but you could never let yourself be.
Gotcha.
Because she was outspoken and, he was kind of a shy, reserved Italian New York playwright style. Anyway, great guy. You are not afraid to be cringe and afraid to be like almost even made fun at.
Well, I kind of believe that thing of, go out on a limb, that's where the fruit is. Like
Yeah.
the place where the cringe exists is the place where the reward is.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, or at least going for it is where the reward is.
So,
Pushing yourself.
Do you think there is a way of reframing some of our life experiences where sorry, I don't know why that is why that's dinging, but anyway, do you think there's a way of reframing some of our life experiences where me dragging you in and out of some cults and even getting you to join a pyramid scheme selling essential oils was actually like a positive thing for you because it allowed you to confront your cringe resistance?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
my most
And I am sorry
embarrassed-
for all that anyway.
Well, I mean, I've been grown up, but my most embarrassing is selling essential oils. It's like the most embarrassing. So if that's the most embarrassing thing I've ever done,
That's true.
then that's, my life's not so bad.
Fair. We did see something that pushed all the buttons of...
And having a Hindu wedding,
well,
someone would
what's-
say it's cringy or it's
You're saying Hinduism is cringe?
no, us white people.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I
But,
get what
you
you're
know,
saying. I get what you're saying.
I loved it.
Now, we saw kind of a modern clown show the other night by this guy called Gary Starr called Classic Penguins, that he performs entirely in the nude. Was that cringe? I mean, I feel like that was meant to he was really asking you to feel like what are you comfortable with? What's going too far?
I didn't think that was cringe, and all his interactions with the audience, that wasn't cringe. I thought it was intimate in a way that, I don't know, I guess I felt it wasn't like body horror because he was fit and beautiful.
But he still was like asking you to confront the intimacy of sitting with a naked man for 2 hours.
Yeah, so it wasn't cringe. It was like I was a little uncomfortable, not with his penis and even not with his
balls either.
Balls or asshole. Like he didn't show his asshole. He just
he showed it.
I didn't look. I don't know why.
But that doesn't mean he didn't show it.
He did show it. I liked that part. He was swinging around with his legs open. It was more I just feared being called on stage.
Yeah, he had some audience participation.
But he never brought anyone who didn't want to go up. I liked it. So, I'm not here to critique anything. He even knows some of the bits. He goes through all the Penguin classics and does a bit around Penguin classic books. And some of it worked extremely well and some doesn't.
Yeah.
But he knew, even the ones that didn't. But
he called it a very silly show. He did have a quote
silly,
that I
but
thought
it
was
good.
interesting.
I liked being around a naked person.
Yeah, me too. I like how you said you thought if I wasn't famous that I would have liked to get up there. And you said, I would have liked to see you standing with that naked man.
And there's one part where one person gets naked with him. And I was sort of like, well, Ben is very famous in Australia. So I was like, you couldn't do it.
But there were no cameras. It would have been it was just for the viewers only that were there. Yeah.
I don't think I would have wanted you to do it, but I just, for some reason, maybe it was a part of me that wished I could. And so I was projecting that I wished you could.
Fair. He said something I thought was really interesting. I did a little research on his background because he trained in Paris with that famous French clown teacher that like Sacha Baron Cohen went to, and my
Yeah,
nephew Tim went to.
You
He's
don't
a
get as good as he is without doing a bunch of
proper
like
clowning. Yeah,
proper
yeah,
school
yeah.
like Pee Wee Herman. Watching that documentary, you're like, oh, of course Pee Wee Herman is that genius because he did 7 different in-depth
Yeah.
different studies of physical comedy or improv or
Experimental theater. all that.
experimental theater or proper theater. Like you're like, oh, that makes total sense that he
But
was so good.
check out this quote. He says, "The clown is forever the optimist, but truly comes alive in failure." Isn't that a cool
Oh,
quote about
that's
clowning? About clowning
beautiful.
in general.
So
That
you
their
meaning
innocence, right?
Yeah.
But it's when they fuck up. It's their mistakes. It's their inability. It's their like the gap between what they're trying to do and what they actually do is where the clown is poetic and funny. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
you're not going to
right.
see the perfect execution of high theater. You're going to see someone messing up, stumbling around, clowning.
But in the clowning, they perfected it. They're
Yeah,
not,
that's true.
it's not, you know what I mean? Like when they fall or when they, whatever they're doing, they're not, that's not a mistake.
No, that's right. That's right.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
character. But
That's great.
I asked one of our comedian friends who wants to remain anonymous about, did you know there is a little bit of a sort of, what do you call it? Like camps, like comedians and clowns. They generally kind of don't mix. They have different
Ah.
approaches to live. And so this comedian, he was saying a few years ago, there seemed to be a bunch of these clowns doing the comedy festival. They'd all trained to be a clown in France. They all got naked on stage, and a big part of the clown thing is crossing boundaries with the audience. So I didn't know that. It's a real it's like
Oh,
a
yeah.
philosophical difference on.
I
yeah.
loved Baskets.
Oh yeah. Well,
With
that's a good example
Zach
of clown and comedian.
Galifianakis.
Yeah, yeah.
He studied clowning. Baskets is a great TV show if you haven't seen it.
Mm.
And also, it's making me think of in Santa Fe, there's this type of Native American tribe that do clowning as their culture. And what they would do is, I feel like they dress up in some of their makeup's black and white, but maybe I'm wrong. But there's like a festival at some point in their culture, and they make fun of people in the town. Like, you know, if someone in the town has like been kind of egoic, they'll like walk up behind them and be like, oh. So it's like this Native American tradition of this one tribe that do clowning, and they make fun of certain people in the town as a way to kind of like burst the bubble so it doesn't, you know, it doesn't matter too much to them. You know what I mean? It kind of
Totally.
like shakes things up. It's not to
Yeah.
be mean. It's to kind of like, you know, lighten it up.
Do you remember that scene in the electric Kool-Aid acid test when Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters are giving people acid and they do it somewhere in like the CBD of like Toronto or something, and a businessman comes in and takes acid for the first time. He'd never done it. This would have been in the 60s. And he just spent the whole afternoon walking around going, I'm a very important person.
Ugh.
I'm a very important
That's
person.
chilling. Remember
So good.
Goldie, our kid, had a little doll, and for some reason it had a little bow tie. It was like a stuffed animal soft doll, and she named it when she was like tiny. She named it Silly Banker.
Silly banker. Yeah. So good. Speaking of people who tend to think they are very important, President Trump, an absolute baby, not being able to, trying to squash any dissent or criticism from comedians. I think this whole Jimmy Kimmel thing is like, to me, I'm like, I don't like gendered expressions of calling people wimps. Like, you know, people say like, don't be a pussy or a bitch or
And
whatever.
then Kara
Kara Swisher.
Swisher
Yeah.
always says little penis.
Yeah, but it's like,
energy
it's
or whatever.
truly like that is like a bitch ass move. Like not being able to handle or tolerate any form of light
And
teasing.
just like, can people just be normal? Like I feel like if he had said, listen, this is a human being, you know, is a person who is a father, this and that, like, give it a second with the jokes or whatever. Like, basically, Jimmy Kimmel was was saying that there was
Yeah,
a
the
lot
jokes
of
weren't even about Charlie
he
Kirk. It was
said
about
there
Trump.
was a lot of
So-
grieving as well.
Yeah.
There was grief, and he
Yeah.
acknowledged the grief even in this, and he just basically said, you know, like that they were trying to the way that they were trying to pin it on something, whatever, and that Donald Trump was not being graceful, and so it was embarrassing to Trump.
But what do you think it is about people who get into positions of power and don't want to be challenged or don't want criticism anymore? It's like that happens at all levels. Like people surround themselves by yes men. There's something about humans that we accumulate enough power and we suddenly want to be totally indulged.
I know the psychology behind that, because you would think that you would, you know, someone would say, well, why aren't you even more confident? You have everything you want. You have so many fans. Like Trump has so many supporters, and I don't know, like you're successful, you're doing well, you're a grown up.
To
Like,
quote Elephant Graveyard, there is a dad-shaped hole that nothing is going to fix inside
yeah,
him.
but you would think, why would it seemingly get worse? I was here listening to Reese Witherspoon's interview on The Daily, and it was really good. I was nervous to listen to it for some reason because I was like, oh, am I going to get like jealous of a woman who's an actress who did so well or something? I don't know what I was worried about. And she was so terrific and so humble and smart and, you know, authentic and vulnerable and like great. It went down wonderfully. And then she was talking about women and how, you know, she sold her company and it was for women by women type thing, which is so great. And how on her show, the morning show, now the women are running the show and there's still problems. And the interviewer was like, well, you know, how do you feel about women? And she said, well, I don't think that's the be all end all. Like, I want women to have more jobs. And that's why I developed this company, and they should have positions that they didn't have. But we also have to include men. And I have sons, and I don't want it to just be like anti-men. You know, I want it to be like a better environment. Men should be raised better, blah, 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 that whole thing. And what's my point? Oh, yeah, power. Because she was very insecure to take positions of power.
And
but-
she's got it now. She's got a tremendous amount of power.
Yeah,
right?
and like
Yeah.
Shonda Rhimes or something at some
Yeah.
crucial points, they were doing something about the whole Me Too thing. And Reese Witherspoon was at a dinner and she was like, oh, it's be so good when someone steps up properly. And Shonda Rhimes said, you're going to do it. You're the one. And she was like, what? And this was like before she had her company, blah, blah, blah. Or maybe she had one company. In any case, Reese had to rise to the occasion. She was very insecure. And she was talking about power. And she was like, I hate that word kind of because power corrupts, you know? And it was just very refreshing to hear somebody authentically like not knowing that could happen.
Well, right. We've seen.
So it must happen. And you get more and more, I guess, glommed onto it. We were talking about humility the other day. I'm running over.
No,
you,
but let's stay on this. But keep going. Yeah.
So, you go, girl. So why we're trying to be humble in this time, and also we've moved countries, and it's really hard to not be like kind of stressed and victimy in life and stuff. And so humility is just so much more relaxing when you really do it, but it's hard to do. And so anyway, what we were talking about, power, what's my point?
Well, let me go from there.
Yeah.
I think to say that President Trump displays no humility is obvious, right? But I just wonder in people's hearts, who wants to live in a world where they are unchallenged? Like, I just really don't see the appeal of it. Like, even just in my daily life, like, I want to consume a lot of different viewpoints, right? Like, I consume content by, like, I'm a left-leaning person. I consume content by left-leaning people and thinkers, by moderate and centrists, and by some right-wing people, because I'm not only looking to consume content that I agree with. I think part of the fun of life is disagreeing and arguing things out and talking shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's been a huge part of like my passion in life. Like, hey, take a swing at something if you think you see hypocrisy or you think you can like point something out. And I'm just really confused by people that want to live in these like sort of fake universes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I naturally like to sort of try to understand where people are coming from. And so a lot of people, in my opinion, are just deeply misguided. And then there's just people who I think are just truly kind of, it's not sinister. I just think are like kind of selfish and being horrible. But a lot of people are kind of coming from where the right place, they think, and they're just, to me, I feel misguided. So
Yes.
they think, oh, my child who's this or that won't go to heaven. And so, I don't know. They're sort of misguided and perhaps religiously or something, but their heart is sort of in the right place, I guess. But yeah, I guess if Trump is like living in a house of cards, clearly deeply insecure and living in such a bizarre bubble, privileged bubble, but a bizarre privileged bubble that I don't know. I guess it's true when I do know for me, when I am struggling more financially than other times, I have a better understanding and compassion for people who don't have enough money to pay medical bills or this or that. And when I've had more money, I do notice my mind goes a little farther away from that compassion. That's just me. So yeah, I don't know though. It's just really it's really ironic and horrible and bizarre when someone has so much and they are whatever, just such scarcity mentality.
Yeah, and I think the scarcity is part of the reason why people ultimately don't want to entertain viewpoints that might challenge them. Like people aren't, I don't know, like to me, I don't like it on the left or the right. Like the deplatforming stuff is like, there's a lot of musicians who have had terrible accusations. They're not good people. But I don't necessarily think they should not be allowed to make records or not allowed to do concerts. It's like you're a consumer. You can choose not to support it. You can, but
Yeah.
I just
mean,
think the
there's
idea of like
clear-
people losing their livelihoods because you find them distasteful, to me, that's like not the direction we should be moving in
Yeah.
as intelligent people.
I mean, there's clear lines you cross that it's like, oh, that's crossed a line. Sex with underage people, whatever, like to a Epstein degree.
Sure, but that's a criminal issue.
Exactly.
That's not about like corporations deciding who should be able to do their work.
And when you say the right with the freedom of speech, like the left don't want hate speech, and it's like, and the right don't want people to say that there were slaves in America. Or whatever, not all the right, but I'm just saying, for example. So, sure, both sides, it's convenient to take away freedom of speech when they believe that you shouldn't promote things. Like the left would say, I wouldn't want to promote hate.
Yeah, like our COVID misinformation.
Sure.
Or the idea that the January 6th insurrectionists were just sightseeing. And
right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
so
exactly.
it's all convenient for each side. But I mean, of course, I will defend what I think is correct.
There was an amazing quote. Kim Masters at Puck said something really interesting in some of the research she was doing behind the scenes at Disney about the Kimmel cancellation. Someone said, when she asked, were they surprised that Bob Iger had decided to pull Kimmel off the air? Listen to this quote. Surprised by what? Bend the knee once and you will be on all fours in no time.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Because this really is a moment of corporate capitulation to fascism, and it is wild to watch.
So as an act of imagination, can you put yourself in that position of somebody who has those many businesses? I don't remember how many Bob Iger has or whatever, and that much money and those kind of relationships with other people and deals that you probably want to get out of,
mergers,
all that. Like, can you imagine ever falling to your knee?
Yes. I mean, that's the thing. I think the reality is, we were talking about this yesterday, at times of corporate fascism, which is what America's going through right now, there is actually a huge amount of money to be made if you toe the line. And when you live in a culture, in a business culture, which is entirely defined by profit and by shareholder value, in some ways the duty of the CEO is to bend the knee if it's going to be beneficial to the company. Now Disney are finding that the pushback that they're getting with all these billions of dollars of cancellations, they're saying.
So is that really happening?
Well,
I know that
it is, yeah.
I'm seeing a lot of people.
There's some real panic, and that may prove to, it does prove to put them in a difficult situation of going, wow, well, if we're fucked either way, what is actually the right thing? Like, what is our fiduciary duty to our shareholders here? So it's going to be very interesting watching it play out. And obviously, this whole thing plays out against the background of what's already been happening within the entertainment industry, in that there's just less and less jobs. And you also sense that people want to protect these shows and these institutions and, you know, the craft services companies and all these people that are like, you know, there's just less and less productions going on. So it's like, it's just sad watching any of them. This is separate to the, like, you know, the bending the knee to Trump and kissing the ring, but just like the sadness of watching productions closing down. There was a really interesting article in Bloomberg this week called "It's Never Been Harder to Get a Job in Hollywood," where they talk to actors, writers, directors, and different executives navigating the future. And Nancy Steiner, who we both know, who's a costume designer for Virgin Suicides, Lost in Translation, she was talking about how she has never gone through this long a period of unemployment. And also, you know, Kai Lennox was in the article as an actor.
Oh,
yeah, talking
great.
just about how thinking about a life career pivot.
Sure.
So this is like, you know, it is a wild time to be in media and entertainment. And in some ways, I think that adds to the desperation of people who want to keep these projects, you know, on the right side of the law, basically.
Yeah. And who do you blame? Like, blaming too much, like being angry is important, but when you glom on and blame too much and that becomes your life's work, you know, projecting onto another culture or another this or that, like people do. I think that's also interesting. We were talking about looking at the news. Obviously, you have a great song, The Fall of America, that's been good. And it's sort of all about being glued to the phone and how we, you know, dealing with that, taking in the news, feeling your feelings about it. What can you do about it? And kind of moving on with your life at the same time. And I don't know, I was listening to also this podcast, I think it was on the Daily, about restaurants and how, you know, food is so expensive and rent. And so there's all these little shops as well, or people kind of reinventing things, which comes out of being scrappy and trying to figure it out. And I think actors in the industry and will do it. I don't know about the music business, but I just know that people will figure out a way to do it because people just want to act and make movies.
Well, how do you feel? Like, we have two daughters who both have expressed interest in going into, whether it's film or the arts or something. Like, as a parent, it was already a dicey industry with kids when you used to, you know, when parents used to see their kids going into the arts or entertainment. How do you balance that now? Like, your sobriety about the industry, but also wanting to be a supportive parent who genuinely believes that you want to support your kids' passions.
Yeah, I don't know. People want to be entertained. So yes, the industry is, it's definitely in a strange position.
And how do you feel that with the girls?
I don't know. I guess it's so, you know, as a parent, all parents wonder and worry when they have a baby and a toddler and a little kid in school, and then as they get to be teenagers, I think you just scratch your head and think, how did I do it? How are they going to do it? But I just feel like they're so terrific and they're smart, and I don't know, you have to be a little philosophical. I don't know. It's scary and you want to try to help, but then also we're not. I mean, yeah, they're sort of Nepo babies, but we're just trying to make our living as well. So it's
totally.
But it's nice to know the business a little bit, and it's going to change. And you've been talking to people who have a different way of thinking about the future with AI, and I don't know. It's like, it's nice to learn also, just to kind of not be too afraid and learn about where things might be going.
Well, that's it. I'm excited for the kids to go into media, arts, entertainment, as long as they broaden their vision of what those words mean in 2025 and beyond, rather than being attached to it being anything like what they grew up seeing, our involvement in it, because it is changing and the industry keeps changing.
Well, that's why
Yeah.
we have to tell ourselves, because they're the ones who are younger and
Yeah.
understanding.
Yeah, that's right. They'll probably adapt easier than we do.
Yeah, I think we're the ones that have to kind of look at what's really happening now.
That's true. What is really happening?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what's really
Just
happening.
listening to a lot of podcasts about people who are trying to understand and know more about business just to try to learn.
The Weirder Together extended universe continues to expand its tentacles outwards, where Australia's pop princess Mole Rat is currently on tour of America, supporting Marina and the Diamonds, killing it around the country, who we are connected to because our dogs escaped into her yard one night.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
remember, we went over there in pajamas, and Marina had both our dogs. They'd climbed down the hill in the Hollywood
She
Hills,
wasn't, like,
and it ended in her garden.
so thrilled.
Well, why would you be thrilled to have like two scary dogs barking at your cats in your backyard?
That's awful. Yeah, that's right. I would be bummed. I'm
Do you-
sorry, Marina and the Diamonds.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do you think our dogs are coming up in conversation backstage?
I hope not, because it would be a bad association with me, and she would probably be like, God, that was so stressful, and associate us with stress, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't like that.
We don't want it. We don't want it.
I want to be thought of as comforting.
There you go. This week, my Awake as a New Sleep tour starts Thursday night in Canberra.
Can I go to Canberra?
Come on, yeah, you
Okay,
should come.
good.
Friday night, Newcastle. Saturday night, Liberty Hall, Sydney. The rest of the tour happens after that. Let's focus on those three this week. So come on out if you haven't. It's going to be really fun prepping for it. And would love to see you there. There's also going to be an after party at the Abercrombie. So come along to that too. That's for Sydney, Liberty Hall.
Get hydrated and ready.
There's going to be great Eden Burns DJing, and Carla's going to be DJing. It's going to be really good. I
Amazing.
think we're going to do it downstairs in the club room.
She'll be
instead
back
of
from
upstairs.
Italy.
Wait, who's in Italy?
Carla.
No, different Carla.
No, that Carla's going too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, really? No. I think Carla Ruffino is going to
Oh.
Italy.
Really?
You're mixing up your Carlas.
You might be wrong.
I might
I
be
may
wrong.
be right. You
may be crazy. All right, Ione Sky.
All right, Benjamin.
Let's say goodbye to our beautiful babies.
Beautiful babies. Thank you. I love you.
Together we're weirder together.